Having said that, you're coming right back to your roots with this. In fact, right back to the student days and supporting students. Tell us about this orientation 2001.
Well, yeah, I was never actually a student, you see, so it's not my roots, but I've looked on and thought perhaps it would have been good to get higher education.
Split Enzo used to do the tour, used to support the student tours, didn't you?
Split Ends toured the universities a few times, but actually mostly before I joined. But anyway, that's a sort of a side issue, because the main issue here is that I was asked to do a orientation tour, and it appealed to me because I haven't ever done it before. And
the sites are going to be not all on campus. You're going to have a mixture of students and the public, aren't you?
The sites are all open to the public. For instance, the town hall, the Christchurch is a performing theatre in Christchurch, which is on campus, I think, but that's open to the public.
The Canterbury University Ballroom, that begins on the 20th of February, and it goes right through Dunedin, Taihape, that's a good one, and Palmerston, North Victoria, Hastings, Waikato, and then Auckland through to the 1st of April. It's quite a tour.
It is, getting around the country, and it's, apart from introducing people to my new songs, well, the main real angle on it was something that occurred to me after years of people jumping up from the front row at venues and just having a crack at a song and it usually working out really well and sometimes in spectacular ways. I thought, well, why not assume that in every town in New Zealand there's some people who can play instruments, they can play old Split End songs or crowded house songs, and rather than go through them with a bunch of session players, let's play them as you would at a party.
What a wonderful thing. So what will you do halfway through the concert? Just invite up whomever wants to have a go?
Well, it's not quite that random because it could be chaos if that was the case. We have actually asked people to send in tapes of themselves playing along with or playing Split Ends or crowded house songs on drums, guitar, bass, whatever. And a preliminary selection will be made just to make sure that the people can actually play. And then the best of them will turn up at soundcheck and I'll just sort of sling together a band of strangers on the day. And then they'll be hanging backstage and have time to get nervous and throw up like Dave Dobbin and,
So part of it is just you solo with the piano and the guitar, and then part of it will be this working with, giving a chance to our young musicians.
Well, it's really just to have a laugh and to get off on the spark that's created when people who are normally in the audience are up on stage and, performing hopefully their hearts out. And they'll have their bands of supporters in the audience who'll be, cheering them on.
Absolutely, it's a great idea. Now, what do we sing here, Neil? In terms, was this cut yesterday, your video?
It just got finished last night, I believe. Yeah.
So this is really fresh off the press and never before seen on TV. We can honestly claim that.
That's right, except we're not hearing any music, are we?
Yes, there is a little, but I have an earpiece, unlike you, so I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
But yes, tell us about this. This is to back up your new album, which is coming out in New Zealand on the 19th of March, and it's called 1-0.
The album's called 1-0. This is the first single called The Rest of the Day Off. It celebrates New Zealanders' great fixation with skiving off work and going to the beach.
And where did you do this? Just in the studio yesterday?
No, I did this 2 weeks ago, and somebody's been in an editing suite, driving themselves mad with it all and overlaying stuff. A lot of the images from the video come from the website that I've been building with Rakai, my designer, for the last 6 months here.
Because that website, which is www.nilfun.net, the idea of that, tell us what you want to do with your website. It has that immediacy, doesn't it, where you might be recording something in the morning and getting it out there at night.
Well, that's the way I'd like to see it as a broadcaster. In fact, I did a webcast through the site about 2 weeks ago, and it was quite an amazing experience, even though, it's not the first one that's been done. But for me, I was in my studio at home with my acoustic guitar, and I had people emailing in from, places as diverse as Venezuela and Norway and Malaysia saying, that was great, Neil, how about Private Universe? And it felt really intimate. It felt like I had a glimpse of the future. So hopefully once a week or even more often, I'll be broadcasting in a year or so.
I love the idea you say it's a reaction against sites that are trying to make money out of the internet before it's even established as an interesting place to be. Yours is trying to make it interesting.
Well, I'm trying to entertain and, expose a bit of good expression on there.
And I congratulate you also. We haven't had time to really look at some of the reviews of this new album, but I will finish with this from the Sydney Morning Herald, which says, I'd venture as far to say that this is the best album Neil Finn has ever made. Were you thrilled with that review?
Well, I haven't read the review, but I've been told that it's been... And it's amazing how many people read the Sydney Morning Herald from Auckland, because about 3 people have told me about it.
It's absolutely glowing.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Do you feel it's your strongest album, 1-0?
I do, yeah. To some extent, everybody wants to believe that of every album they make, but I think listening to it, I didn't listen to it for 2 or 3 months after I finished with it last year. Then I came to it again after Christmas, and it felt to me like a really good, consistent body of work. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Thank you for that. Released on the 19th of March, and in the meantime, Orientation 2001.
Yeah, I'll be there.